we've been using a permethrin-based pour-on the back probably once every 3 or 4 weeks, but we've had a few horses get dermatitis from where that gets poured on along their back. So we're going to try and go another way. Just take that same pour-on, pour it on a cloth, and rub it on the muzzle. So let's look at a horse grazing. This is where, they're sticking their head. Even if the grass is a little longer, they're sticking their head down. This is where the ticks are going to grab. So we see them in here quite frequently, here, chest, and this area. So if I were to take this pour-on and pour it on a cloth and then rub it in these lower parts of the horse, I think you'll try and minimize as much as you can the ticks are pretty sensitive to the permethrin and amitraz. So contact, if we can get enough on the horse in the location of the tick, we should be able to kill them. It takes about 24 to 48 hours for a tick to be on the horse before they're working their mouthpiece in the skin, and they're not infected for the first 24 to 48 hours. So we have some time to kill them before they actually cause disease. So again, trying to look at the big scope of things, nothing's going to be 100%. If we can control the environment, let's control the environment. If we are going out trail riding, Governor Dodge, going through some longer grass, we should apply some chemicals. So I think that's all I have, and I guess we can do questions.
The vaccine for the lions, does that work on the anaplasma as well?
No, so the vaccine for Lyme is only for Lyme, and there is no vaccine for anaplasma. Even though treatments are very similar, yeah.
And the collars you were talking about,
Yeah.
Go on the legs.
Yes, they go around the pastern.
Does that help you out with the muscle, jaw?
Yeah, we were trying to, maybe hang one from a halter, and that is a possibility. A lot of people don't like to turn their horse out with a halter on, so we kind of, instead of that, we'll apply the permethrin-based underneath the jaw. This is a big spot where they are, because they're reaching down, and it seems like the tick is always underneath the jaw. The ticks are, if you're looking at for the tick on the horse, that's very difficult until they're blood-filled, yeah. Once they're blood-filled, they'll get a swelling around it, yeah, and so you can't find them until they have attached and filled up.
Dr. Kolb?
Yeah.
On your initial illustration, you showed the mouse and a bird next to it.
Right.
You discussed the bird. Why is that in the picture?
Certainly the bird is a way for the anaplasma and the Lyme to be, that's where they're going from location to location. But primarily in your, the way they're going to survive for a long time is in that mouse that's living in the ground, or living along the ground.
So you're saying the larvae are in the bird?
No, the larvae, they just hop on for a blood meal and they fall off. So they just live along the ground. Yeah.
What about a seafood product like bug off or something like that?
Yeah, so DEET products, like you would use for repellents. The effectiveness of DEET against ticks is there, but not very good, so it won't last very long. So if you're going for a trail ride, yes, you can get a couple hours of DEET repellent, but it's not going to last longer than a couple hours.
Kind of like a garlic-based product, like bug off.
Yeah, I may or may not work. I don't know. I doubt it, but you could try it. Yes?
Are camels vector?
I'm sorry?
Cattle?
Are cattle affected by ticks, diseases? Yes, there are tick diseases, and in the south, they have more of a problem with the ticks that are located there. Is anybody looking at cattle for tick-related diseases? No. So I don't know how many cattle might be affected, pasture cattle and all that. They might just hang out there. They're a mammal, they should get it also if they're pastured. Most of our dairy cattle don't have exposure to pasture, so they aren't going to be real common. But if you have pastured cattle, I imagine it could happen. All right.
I found ticks on the end of the tailbone of our horse. So are these falling off of trees onto the horses?
Yeah, so any mid-level height brush or grass is really, that picture I showed of the tick out there on the end of a blade of grass, that they like it to be a little bit higher than ground level. Then that's where they're hanging out to be caught. So, yeah, we have these little, we basically just modified a dog collar so that you can, we have them available. We have a permethrin, tick kit with a quart of permethrin-based product and the collars. So they're available. It's not like there's a huge markup in them. I think you get a quart of the stuff and 4 tick collars for $76.50. So it's still reasonably priced, and I think if you're in a location where you can't control your environment very well, I think they'll be effective. The permethrin-based products, it says on the bottle to do once every 3 or 4 weeks. I don't believe that does any good in 2 weeks. I would rather put smaller amounts on in the areas where they're more commonly seen, like 3 days a week. I'd wipe some on the muzzle, the upper legs, chest, and abdomen. And I try and keep that on there during that time. Most everybody in here could probably either, if you reach over, if you haven't had a tick-related disease in your horse, and you reach over to your neighbor, they have. It's just really common. So, yeah.
I was just wondering, you said that if you pour it on their back, you had some skin burning, but that doesn't happen cause it seems like the skin between their, on the insides of their hind legs is kind of sensitive. That doesn't happen there?
After you get a chance to look at these pour-ons, they're really quite greasy.
Okay.
And I think the reason that they got dermatitis is that it just holds the moisture right there.
Oh.
And I think if you put it on, if you just wipe it on the hairs, and it's really not going to get to the skin like it will penetrate to the skin in the back. So I don't think you're going to see as much irritation as we have seen on the back.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right.
Why is it that, if you're having a bunch of ticks on your horse, the horse won't necessarily get it? Is it just some ticks have it?
Yes. Exactly. Some ticks have it. Some horses are more resistant, just natural resistance. And so, when we go to treat a horse with anaplasmosis, for example, it's not like it goes from horse to horse or all of that. I imagine that almost all the horses at the place have been exposed to anaplasmosis. It's just 1 or 2 that get it. And it's just immunity and chance and risk.